Shalom, shalom, Rocker Family Homestead. We back at it, man. Today, I want to talk about developing your skills as a man. Set apart men cannot just be about lip service, man. It's got to be about action, man. It's got to be about doing the word. And when you think about the word, it says, build ye houses and plant ye gardens. It says the Most High will bless the labor of your hands. So you think about it, man. I'm going to share today's project with you, let you check out what I've got going on. Despite the government shutdown, we're still going to make it happen. Let's talk about it. All praise to the Most High Yah Shalom. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Rocker Family Homestead. Man, as you can see, I'm going to talk to you about developing skills, as a set apart man. Now, you have men that are religious and won't lift a finger and won't get up off the couch. And then you have set apart men that are willing to learn, willing to build real skills. And this is what this is about. Before I go any further and give you a breakdown of what I'm doing, man, go ahead and hit that like button, smash that thing, because it doesn't cost you anything. And then secondly, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you subscribe, set your notifications to all notifications. That way you can see when I'm dropping new content. And then lastly, drop me a comment down below. Answer this question down below in the comments. Let's start the conversation. What skill sets, what other skill sets do you think are most important, for men to have? Okay, so what you see right here, man, is, today, man, we did a whole bunch of grading, and I use I got a heavy duty construction level, to get the grade right, to check the level, all four corners, make sure the building is square. Because once we get done, man, this building, this whole run is going to be, let me show you, man, this is going to be, let me back up. This is going to be 18 wide by 70 feet deep. It's going to be a big building. We're going to pour the concrete. We're going to come back tomorrow, recheck square. Today, man, we got the grade. We spent majority of the day getting the grade right because we had to put a lot of dirt in back there. And we used this, drove this skid today, got a Bobcat engine in it. It's got some wear and tear on it, got a lot of miles, a lot of hours, but it's got its issues. But if you know how to handle heavy machinery, you can work through it because it makes light work. And when you think about skills, most men, modern men, are not willing to get out here and labor with these things. When you think about the cost of houses, in interest rates, man, you're going to pay for a house 2 times, 3 times over the way interest rates are. So if you know how to do this kind of work, you think about this 18 by 70 foot building, man, this is 1,260 square feet. And, this skill sets, man, these are, you can't even put a price on these skill sets because you think about when you buy a home or you build a building, man, they're charging you for their experience, their time, material is marked up and everything. But, I didn't get to just jump out, get out the bed one day and say, hey, I'm gonna pour, 1,200 feet of concrete. That's not how it happened. Man, I've got chicken coops that I've poured. That's a 14 by 8. I've got a greenhouse back over there that I've poured. This whole sidewalk, I poured this, me and my sons. So it's a gradual process of developing these skills, and on this bigger, normally when I pour small projects, man, I'm using a regular bubble level. But today, man, I honed in them skills and learned how to use that laser level, and man, we shut down because my help had some stuff to do. But I'm up here getting these. We got a toilet 3-inch for a toilet drain. We got a water line right here, 1.5-inch for a water line inlet, and this is going to be a drain, and I'll go ahead and show you the rest. But yeah, man, this is going to be for the toilet drain and the sink drain. And just learning, man, when you build the average man, you got to develop the skills so you know how to do this stuff, because the more you know how to do and set in place, the cheaper the overall cost is going to be. And I can show you, man, I've got neighbors over there, directly over there. Let me show you over there. And they built that house by their hands. That man, his sons and his family, they built that house by their hands, with the exception of, contracting out some of the electrical work, contracting out the HVAC work. But other than that, man, they built that with their own hands. And when you think about build ye houses and plant you gardens, man, I want the average man to realize, man, if you're willing to learn, you can build, with simple math, learning how to work hand tools and things like that. And let's be real, man. I grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in the city. I didn't grow up around men doing this kind of stuff. I grew up doing lawn care, DIY projects around the home, but nothing this extravagant right here. So like I said, man, we're going to pour this, this concrete is going to be, this first 20 feet is going to be level. It's going to be flat. And this is going to be like office space. We can build some rooms. I'll frame out some rooms in here. I'll have at this mark right here is the 20-foot mark. So from here across, all of this is going to be level, and I'm going to have building space. I'm going to have a door right here, entry door, heavy duty door. And then I'm going to have a roll up garage door right here. Okay. So when I tell you this grade, we had to add about 6 inches worth of dirt, just constantly going back and get buckets of dirt, leveling it out, because this grade, it's got like a 2% drop. And when you think about a 70-foot run, it's cheaper to fill it in with dirt than it is to go get gravel, to go get, have extra concrete, because within a 1/2 inch or an inch, if they got to pour additional concrete, that's okay. But when you're getting an inch over in depth, it's going to get expensive. So right here is right here is the 20-foot mark in, and then that marks 50 feet that way. So the toilet drain is going to go right there. And when you think about it, man, when you think about the how far from the edge of a slab you have to, put your drain, you don't want to put it too far out, and then you got a toilet sitting in the middle of the room. So what you do is, okay, if you're framing for a 2x4, a raw cut 2x4 is actually 3.5 inches. So knowing the width of a 2x4, 3.5 inches, and then you've got drywall, 3/8 inch thick, 1/2 inch thick. You really ain't got to worry about the drywall. But if you're using 2x4s for framing or 2x6s, you have to calculate all that out, and that determines where your drain is going to be. And when you think about your standard toilets, man, you've got 12 inch is going to be your most common toilet, and that's 12 inch on center of the drain. So in the center of your drain circle, it's got to be 12 inches from the framing of the wall. So you have to add those calculations up and make sure you're spot on, because if not, your drain will be too close to the wall. You can't fit a toilet, or it's too far out and you can't you can't put a toilet. You got to run these long water lines to go to your toilet. Now, when we're gonna do a water inlet right here, a water inlet line because I got another meter I got to get installed. But we'll do a water line that will come over here, and it's gonna be the framing 3.5 inches for the actual building, so it can sit on the inside of that 3.5 inches. You drill a pilot hole and have your water line come up on the edge, you're good to go. Okay, so from this mark, 20 foot, 50 feet on, this right here is actually going to be another kennel area. As you see right here, man, I got my dog kennel building. We've got 980 square feet there. That's a 18 by 50. So we went bigger on this one because we're gonna shut it down. When it comes to my city, we're gonna have the largest facility and the most capacity. So when people want to travel and board their dogs, we're gonna have it on lock. All praise to the Most High. Okay, so what we got right here is we dug out, when you think about drains, in the middle is going to be a slope, a concave, and then on the back end let me show you, on the back end it will start to go back up to level. But on the end, when we're pressure washing and things like that, you want the water to run into the middle. So we put 3 drains, same concept we used on that one. So you have to know how to work with the level in the ground. So when you put these drains in the ground, these drains are actually 3 inches below the level line of the surface of the concrete, and the concrete will slope in to meet that depth, and you learn all kind of stuff, man. Taping your ends so you don't clog them up with dirt, because that will mess you up, because you pack that with dirt, you got to put something in there and try to flush it out once it's done. But if you tape it, it makes it nice and easy. This used to be this lane. You can see I still got a target back here. This used to be my shooting range, so we're gonna move the shooting range over and redo that. But got 3 drains in here. We put these stakes in here and marked them, so we know, just in case we're working and these things drop down or something is off, we know we got to reset them from stepping over and compacting it. You never know, it could drop a 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch we're not worried about. But yeah, this is where we use we didn't put a frame on this side. For the fact that what we're doing is getting the excavator in here and working, and right here is where we took all the dirt from, and my property line goes a little bit further, goes about another 2 acres that way. So man, we got the dirt from right here, got it up and got after it, man. It's always good, man, to get in that bobcat, to get in the skid steer, man, and get some practice on, because the more you do it, the more repetitions you get, the smoother you get at it. When you first start, it's going to be pretty jerky. It's going to be pretty rough. It's a learning curve. But if you are a man and you're willing to learn, man, you can go to your equipment rental, your Hertz rental equipment or anything like that, whatever you got near you, and you can rent this stuff for $150, $180, $200 a day. Do your work. Versus if you were to pay somebody and come in, they might say, hey, in order to do this, man, I'll do it, but I'm gonna do it for $2 grand. You can save a lot of money by doing your own work. And that's the name of the game. That is the name of the game. You can see the old targets right there that we had. But yeah, man, this will allow us, when you think about in total, with this space right here, man, we will be able to have about, let's see, we'll be able to host or house about 60 to 70 dogs in total with the building we got over there. So we're gonna on this one, I'll contract out. I'll do the concrete. We're gonna pour that once we finish the grading work, getting the lines in. We'll pour the concrete in, and then I'll help with the installing the actual structure itself. We're gonna put a metal building on here, just like that one. Put a metal building, and when you buy metal buildings, this concrete work, man, if the people selling you the building are local to you, they might have a concrete company to come out and do the concrete work, but they're gonna charge you a premium. You know, and you think about $7.50 per square foot. You do the math on that times on 1,260 feet, and that'll give you the total cost, man. You're looking at $9,460, and you can save a lot of money yourself by doing the work, calling the concrete truck out and getting in the pour, paying a couple brethren to come out and help you and get this done, you know. But if you're ordering one of these buildings online, you know, when you get a building, man, you have to tell them, is it going to be on the ground? And even if you order it and don't pour concrete, the grade has to be set. They're not going to come out and install a building and you got this wavy ground. It's just not going to work like that. So this process has to be done either way. But when you think about that, if you're ordering one of these metal buildings and buying them one, you have to if you can't do this, you got to reach out to somebody and get it done, and pay that price for them just to do the concrete work. And that concrete work, like I said, man, this is depending on the region you live in. To pay somebody to do this, man, you're looking at 8 to 10 grand for them to come out and pour this much concrete, 4 inches thick, 3/8 rebar, 20-inch on center, far as the squares and things like that, you know. But this ground took a lot of work because it's that clay, it's that thick clay, and once it gets hard, man, it almost gets fossilized. So it took a while, but this is what we got done today, man. I gotta run to Lowe's, man, and get some more fittings because I installed a drain fitting on 180 degrees the wrong direction. And you know, once you set that primer in that cement, there ain't no getting it off. You got to cut it and go get another one. So luckily, man, I'll be able to recover that. You know, pretty much got some extra fittings and things over there. But yeah, we'll get this done, man. Just wanted to share that with you, man, and just show that, hey, as a set apart man, you know, you see a lot of people talk the talk, but man, this is what it comes down to. Because if you can do this work, you know, man, you'd be surprised if you wanted to pour, let's say people rent an apartment for 750 square feet. And if you can pour 750 feet worth of concrete, learn how to frame walls, man, you think about that, man, you can pretty much, if you got the land, you can have those small little living dwelling places, have 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room, 2 bathrooms with 700, 800 square feet. You can get it done. You can get it done. You can frame up the walls. You can learn all of that. And I live outside of city limits, so it makes it easier to where I don't have to pull permits or anything. I don't have to ask permission. I can erect what I want out here. And, you know, that's what I try to encourage men to get outside of their comfort zone. And when I'm learning a lot of this stuff, when I'm learning it from the older guys, hey, they don't take it easy because they know how costly mistakes are. So they want to make sure you get it right. And, you know, you gotta be willing to submit yourself to abrasive and firm leadership so you can grow, you know, not getting offended when they tell you jack something up and you got to do it over again. It's a learning curve. But as you do it, man, you know, you can see on some of my other channels, man, you know, I showcase the different projects and works that I'm doing. But, you know, my sons are learning a lot because, man, they're learning on a grand scale what they're actually capable of. And we're constantly pushing the limits on developing skills, real skills, you know. And this is considered blue collar or laborsome work. And when you think about this government shutdown, if you know how to do this kind of work, man, you're still in business. Where if you got a degree or something, you're working for the government or these companies are laying you off, you got to think, man, this is where the money is. This is where the money is. So outside of the dog boarding business, this is helping me hone in my skills because, you know, I've got another business venture, contracting, that I'm embarking on. So I have to hone in my skills because, man, you do a building this size, a concrete pad this size, and your lines aren't straight, man, your building is not going to be sitting right. It's not going to be square. You know, when I poured that sidewalk right there, I didn't verify squareness on it, and it's all kind of zigzag. So when you think about stuff like that and people are paying a premium, that's not going to fly. But when you're doing something this big and you know you're going to charge somebody, man, you have to be on point. You got to be on point. And you can easily, with work like this, man, you think about hiring some help, 2 or 3 guys, you can easily pay them $150, $200 a day and get a lot of work done and still be profitable in this kind of work. But a lot of men simply don't want to. You got to think, man, we got men out here wanting to get their fingernails painted, be like Dwayne Wade, want to worry about their, don't want to get their hair dirty, their hands dirty, all kind of foolishness. But this right here is what's going to set you apart. Man, during a collapse, a government shutdown for all these corporations, man, somebody's still going to be getting buildings done. Wealthy people, you have to think, man, you come across somebody that is extremely wealthy and they got deep pockets. You do this kind of work, depending on, and they remember, hey, that's my go-to guy. You've constantly got work. Every time they expand, they're going to call you. And that's the, when you think about projects like these, the reality is your concrete guys are kind of gonna come do the grade, depending on how bad the grade is. Some concrete guys don't even do grade. They have somebody else. You got to pay somebody else, another subcontractor, to do the grade, and then they come verify the grade, and then your plumber has to take and you got to think that's already 3 different contractors you've had to use. But when you know how to do the basics yourself, man, you can skip all of those. You can skip all of those. You got to pay a plumber to come in with a mini excavator and trench out these ditches, lay the plumbing and set it, and then the concrete is going to come back and put the moisture barrier, put the rebar, so that's just this process right here is bypassing 3 contractors. Then you do the work. Okay, once you got the slabs, then you can start setting up the framing on your wall, 12 inches on center, 16 inch on center, 2x4 studs or 2x6 walls for rigidity. If you're going to be load bearing, if you're going to have, depending on the levels of the house, you're going to have a 1-story or a 2-story. But this is the basics in its raw form. This is it right here. In another video, man, I'm going to talk about the importance of young men needing to pay attention when it comes to when you're in school going over fractions and math. A lot of young men think that, oh man, that stuff is not irrelevant, I'm not going to have to use it. But the reality is you got to be able to read a tape measure out here. You got to be able to do calculations in order to determine your square, your diagonal, to make sure you got this thing square. You have to be able to do some calculations, like I said, for the drain, setting the plumbing in the middle. So men need to really pay attention and not blow this stuff off, because I don't care what your trade is. I don't give a dang if you're a machinist, if you're a mechanic, you're a plumber, you're a carpenter, you're a welder, you do concrete, the list goes on. Say for instance, you just drive one of these. You have to understand math, because at some point it's going to be incorporated in that trade. And we got to get men, a lot of young men, I'm talking about the ages of 10 and up, 10 to 18. This is the stuff that they need to learn and to survive a lot of this stuff that's going on in the economy. Because if you're willing to do this work, you got to think, man, somebody might want to extend a patio. You think about extending a patio, and I've got concrete mixers and things like that. I got bull floats and everything. Somebody want to extend a patio, 12 by 8 feet. You can be in and out in 2 days and charge them a premium for it. You always got work when you know how to do this kind of stuff, and that's just the name of the game. So I just wanted to share that with you, show you what I'm working on. I just don't sit back and make videos and talk a good game, man. I get after it. So what I'm about to do is hop up in this skid steer and finish ditching this out some more as far as these drains go, because let me show you what we got here. You don't want to dig it deep to where the pipe comes and then it starts to go back up, because your water's just going to pool there. So I want to dig that deep and have enough for that water to run off. And these are just water drains, so they don't have to go to the septic tank or anything like that, so I ain't got to worry about it. But my line that we dug out here didn't finish. Eventually, man, I'm gonna get another septic tank put out here, and that's a good, man, if you know how to work a backhoe, you can probably save some money when it comes to digging out that septic tank, if you can work a backhoe, you know. But that's another $7 grand, 7 to 8 grand for a small septic tank, because this septic tank is only gonna pretty much facilitate a toilet and a sink. It's not a whole lot, so it doesn't have to be that big. But yeah, man, I'm gonna get at it while I still got some daylight, and catch you guys later, man. I thank you for tuning in, and like I said, man, drop it down in the comments. Let me know what you think. You know, young men, what are skill sets young men need to focus on and pay more attention to, rather than all of this stuff that is failing them. And we see it now with the government shutdown, mass layoffs. Let me know down in the comments. Like I said, I'm interested in what you're saying, because you might be dropping some nuggets that I need to focus on and learn. You know, once again, this is Rocker Family Homestead, kicking that thing gun barrel straight. Until next time, bow.